Hello, everybody. My name is Aaliyah Brockbank, and I am the Practice Development Manager for Sinclair. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I am as excited as always to be here for another webinar, especially since I'm talking about one of my very favorite topics tonight, and that is social media. So I'll be going on a deep dive of all of the 101 things that you need to know, how truly valuable social media can be to your practice. And we'll go over what type of content to post, which I think is always the big question, and just general best practices as well. So I'm going to keep my intro nice and short and sweet and really get into the good stuff here. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so first of all, if you've seen any of my social media webinars, I always put this slide in there, but why should you be utilizing social media? There's a lot of different reasons, right? First of all, the amount of time internet users spend on social media is higher now than ever. So truly everyone is on social media nowadays. It doesn't matter age. You know, my 80-year-old grandma and grandpa are on social media. So it's really important that you showcase your business and your practice and your brand there because you have a really large audience essentially. People are also using social media, my goodness, combining words here, to learn about medical aesthetics. Particularly, I can't talk today, millennials, which they are a really, really important generation to target within medical aesthetics. And this is how I find my service providers is through Instagram specifically. And I can say, most of the millennial generation definitely is doing that as well. So it's important, again, you are showing up on social media and telling these people who are, looking to learn about medical aesthetics, you're telling them why they should pick you as a service provider. It also allows you to connect and engage with your patients after they leave your treatment room, right? And after they leave your practice, which is so important. You can really keep building on that. Also, it helps to build brand awareness when done so correctly, and we'll talk about that coming up. Also, effective target marketing, also when done so correctly, we'll talk more about that. And also, like I just said, it targets millennials, right? And 83% of millennials use Instagram, as I just mentioned, to learn about medical aesthetics. And this comes from our good friend, Audrey Neff, the Director of Marketing over at Patient Now. So really, really important that you are on Instagram to attract those millennial patients. And it also, being on social media and being present there, it helps your business to stay relevant, especially in our industry, right? Social media is just such a huge platform within medical aesthetics. It's important that you're there. Got to stay relevant, got to keep up with the trends. All right, so that's why. And before we really deep dive into everything, I want to first paint you a picture, okay? So bear with me. So we're going to look at two social media accounts. Okay, this one's completely fake. I made this up on Canva for this purpose. But what we're going to look at and what I want you to do is to put yourself in the shoes of a potential patient who is on Instagram looking for a service provider, okay? And when we look at these two different accounts, I want you to think about which one of those social media profiles you're more attracted to. Which one of these businesses would you be more inclined to book an appointment with? Okay. And I want you to also ask yourself why. Why do you like this account so much better? What draws you to it? And we're going to talk about that too. Okay. And this totally goes into how your practice is perceived, right? Because perception truly is everything. And social media really can shape the perception of your business, even if you don't realize it. So important that your content represents you well. All righty, so let's take a look at this account. Again, it's fake. And we're gonna see what people would think of it, okay? They're going to see no brand identity, right? We don't see any consistent brand colors. We don't see any consistent brand logos. So what happens when this isn't present? This brand or this business is less memorable and less trustworthy as well. And we're going to talk more about that. So that's some of the things that this potential patient can be feeling. It's actually only stock photos, right? So what is this telling the potential patient? A bit inauthentic. They're going to be saying, who is behind this business? Where are the real people? I want to connect with real people, right? Especially for something like medical aesthetics, where so much trust and connection is necessary. That's what they're going to be thinking. There's no before and after photos. So they're looking for a really great result so that they can book with this spa, this fake spa, and it's not there, right? They're going to move on really quickly. We'll dive deeper into that. Only static posts, meaning only photos, right? Where on all platforms these days, there are short form videos. We'll talk much more about that. But they're going to be looking for more engaging content, and they're not seeing that here. And again, no real people. Where are the real people? Is this a fake account? Maybe that's what they're going to be thinking. Okay, so that's our first clinic. Now I want us to look at this one. And this is just some of the content I've pulled from the Sinclair page and some from my page, just to kind of curate it perfectly for the point of this slide. And let's see what patients would think of this social media profile. They see consistent branding, right? They see the logo, they see the different branding colors, the purple and the navy blue. They're going to feel much more at ease and really trust this brand from the get-go. My little bar is in the way here. I think that says authentic content. Okay, perfect. Really authentic content, right? They see staff members and different people and stuff like that. They're really, really, really important. Quality before and after photos. Again, this is what people are looking for when they're looking for a service provider on social media. So they're seeing really quality before and after photos, and they're like, heck yes, I love those results. I'm booking with this clinic. Diversified content, right? If you see these little reel symbols in the corner, that's just kind of signifying that that type of content would be a reel on Instagram or a short form video. And now they're more engaged because reels and short form videos are just naturally a more engaging type of content. And they see real people, and that kind of ties right into that authentic content. So they're like, oh, I keep seeing this person, that works at this clinic, and they're teaching me things, and all of the, they're really showing me who they are, and I like them. I want to book with them. So again, think about this and how your business is perceived on social media. Okay, moving on. Oh, forgot the last one. Focus on real content. That's really, really important. And we're going to be diving deeper into that. Alrighty, so that was the little thing I wanted us to do. Now we're going to move into social media best practices. Now I'll be talking about Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok in particular. And I know TikTok, there's just kind of some things happening with it currently. So I still left it in the slides because it's still around with us today. So it's always important to kind of stay up to date on those type of things and to make sure that you are utilizing your time wisely on the different platforms. Okay, so this next section, or the best practices, really goes for any platform essentially. So first thing you want to start with is you want to plan, execute, and evaluate. Essentially, you don't want to post just because you feel like you have to, right? You want to have a strategy and you execute it well, and then evaluate it and make sure everything's going well for you. So first, make sure you determine which platforms to focus on. I'm going to go deeper into that. Who is responsible for social media in your practice? I would look within your staff if you kind of have that bandwidth. Who's passionate about it? This is kind of how I started, with my love for social media, wasn't when I worked in a practice. So look for that first. And I would say if you are going to work with a marketing company, I would look for someone who's able to create authentic content for you. And not just, not just stock photos, and make sure they're using the correct wording, things like that. So if you're working with a marketing company, look for someone local who can come and make content for you. Or maybe like a social media marketing intern, from a college, if that's close by. Just make sure they are making authentic content for you so you get your money's worth, because I know that can be expensive. What is your goal with social media? There can be many different goals. It can be to increase engagement. It can be to acquire patients. Maybe you want to increase your followers. Whatever it may be, make sure your goal is SMART. And this actually goes for any goal that you may have in life. And what does SMART mean? It means to be specific. So don't make just a really general goal, right? That's kind of hard to commit to the goal at that time. make it measurable, and think about how am I going to measure this goal, right? Or measure if I'm reaching that goal. And with social media, thankfully, that's really easy to track, right? Because we have analytics and whatnot. Attainable. Is this goal attainable? Is your goal to go from, 100 followers to 10,000 followers in a month? It's not really attainable, right? So start with smaller goals that will eventually get you to your big goal. Is it relevant? I think usually we make pretty relevant goals, but is it really fit in with a big picture? As well as time frame. What is the time frame that you would like to achieve this goal? It's really important to look at that as you're determining your goals. And then always adjust your strategy accordingly. Figure out what's working, what's not working, by looking at your analytics and whatnot, which we'll talk about, and pivot. All right. Alrighty, so first I want to just kind of go into some profile elements in case someone needs to kind of, redo their social media pages a little bit, or maybe you're brand new practice and you are just starting out your social media profiles. So a couple of important points here. Your handle, your social media handle, this is what people know you as, right? So it should be really easy to read and it should include the name of your business. In most cases, I know there's always exceptions to rules, but people won't know who you are necessarily. Well, hopefully they do. Actually, we're going to dive into that, but they're going to know you by your Instagram handle or your TikTok or Facebook handle. Profile photo. So brand logo is definitely good. We're going to help to increase that brand awareness and just that brand identity. If you or your employees have accounts, that happens a lot of the times, they should have a really nice headshot that really represents your brand well. And then our bio. So Instagram, it's going to be pretty short and sweet. I'll actually show you some examples shortly. Facebook, there's kind of two different sections. So there's a short intro section and then a more detailed description section where you can get pretty in depth, which I'll go over as well. TikTok, really short and sweet, even shorter than Instagram. So just think about how can I describe my practice in as little words as possible. And that's your bio for TikTok. All right. Also make sure to, when possible, I know Instagram and Facebook, I'm kind of blanking if TikTok has this, but be sure to include action buttons and link in your bio. So include a contact button in your booking link. Just that way, people can just click that link, your phone number or your email will pop up and they can contact you really easily, as well as, putting that booking link. If you have online booking, they can just go there, book their appointment right away, which is really nice. All right, so those are your profile elements. Now let's dive a little bit deeper on your Instagram bio. So I gave a few examples from some of our lovely customers and friends, and I just want you to notice that they're all a little bit different, right? But they have a lot of the same elements and almost kind of the same template. So let's look at what we're seeing. A lot of them have the location that they're in, right? Most of them, if not all of them, have some sort of cute little tagline that really represents their brand well, right? Like elevate your wellness and beauty, love the skin you're in, be a complete 10, be bright, be you. Amazing. Also, something really great to put into your bio is your key services that you offer. So we see here like biofiller, PRF, lasers, Botox, fillers, facials, perfect. Just those key services. So use this as a template for your Instagram bio if you need to kind of spice it up and kind of, restructure it a little bit. This is what people are looking for, definitely. And this also is a lot of the times kind of the first impression that someone may have of your social media profile, because it's right up top. It's important that it represents you well. So your Facebook bio, as I mentioned, there is a short and sweet little introduction here. So again, think about how can I describe my business in as little words as possible. And then in this description, if people were to hit about, can really go in depth, right? So like your mission statement here and what your business is about is really great to put here, and maybe what you offer as well. Alrighty, so that's the bios. Okay, now we're going to go into knowing your audience. I always say you have to know your audience to grow your audience, essentially. And why should you know your audience? First of all, it maximizes your marketing efforts, right? Marketing takes time, effort, money. A lot of the times, I know social media is relatively free. I know you can run ads and whatnot. But still, it takes a ton of time and energy. And if you're paying a staff member or paying, a marketing company, that's still taking money. So knowing your audience and knowing how they like to be spoken to and knowing what type of content they like to see and just understanding them, you're able to then create that type of content. And then you're maximizing your efforts, right? Because you're getting a really great response in return because you know them. So this will also help to increase followers and conversions, right? So really the goal is to acquire patients from social media. And if you know your audience, this is the best way to do that. So some questions to ask yourself. Who is my ideal patient? There's actually like a million questions you can ask yourself. You can get really deep here, but we're just going to go with the basic ones. Who is my ideal patient? Are they male? Are they female? What's their age? What do they do for work? How much money do they have to spend at my practice? What do they like to do for fun? You can really create a buyer persona, essentially. What social media platforms are they using? I would say that's one of the most important, right? You don't want to be wasting your time on one platform when every or a lot of your different patients are on other platforms. So if you have a current patient base, maybe just do a survey. Ask what social media platforms you're using. And what type of content do they enjoy, like I said, and how do they prefer to be spoken to through marketing? So know your audience. All righty, so I'm usually doing this like in front of people, so it's a little bit different now, but I want you to take a second and I want you to look at these brand logos and out loud to yourself, I would like you to name them. I'll give you a second. Okay, so I'm assuming you got all of them because everyone always does. And of course, they are globally recognized brands, but you recognize them without their business name attached, right? Just by the logos. You can be just as recognizable and just as memorable to your social media audience, your followers, and your patients by using consistent brand identity and just consistent branding in general. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how you can consistently use brand identity. So first of all, social media is the #1 way to leverage visual branding. And again, this is essentially free. It used to be years ago, before social media was as big as it is, you would have to pay so much money to like put a billboard up and, radio ads and magazines. And I know a lot of people still do that, but this still is a really, really great way to get your name out there and really grow an organic following. And you can post your brand identity every single day, right? Or a few times a week at least. So you can really increase your brand awareness. So when we think about branding, we probably think about brand identity because that is the visual representation of the brand. Color, logo, essentially. That's the gist of it. But branding is not purely visual. It does go much deeper than that, actually. At its core, a successful brand identity is an expression of everything your brand stands for, including your values or mission statement, your products and services, your brand voice, including personality, tone, and style. So I want you to really infuse this into your social media. Who your brand is, right? They should be able to feel that. But to start on, just kind of a beginner level, if you're like, oh, that's too much, start with your brand identity being the colors of your brand. You are your brand. We're going to talk more about that. And so is your staff, as well as your logo. That's a perfect place to start and just keep up with that consistently. So why is it so important to be consistent with your brand identity? Yes, to be memorable and recognizable, but also because people trust brands that they recognize, right? If you think about it, the brands that you use, whether it be like food or cosmetics, things like that, a lot of the times we just recognize it and we're like, oh, I'm going to go with that one because I know that. So same goes for business as well, or same for medical aesthetics. Again, your business becomes more memorable. You can really deliver a concise message about your business, really helping to shape the perception that people have of your business. So I want everyone to have this same goal. I want you, or I want your audience essentially, to know your content before they realize who posted it. So before they like look and see, oh, who is this from, by looking at your handle, I want them to know that it's you because you're sharing your colors consistently and your logo, and you're sharing yourself as well, which we're going to dive into in just a moment. All right. All right, consistency is absolute key, as with anything in life, right? We tell our patients to be consistent with sunscreen and with with their treatments. We got to be consistent on social media. So why is this so important? That visibility, first of all, but it also builds trust and reliability with your audience. They can kind of count on you, once they see you showing up on social media so often. Platform algorithms reward consistency. So if you feel like the algorithm's kind of fighting against you, this can maybe be it. Kind of take a look and see how often you're posting. Increases engagement. We're going to talk more about why that's so important. And again, brand visibility and brand recognition. So how often should you be posting on the different platforms? Facebook, 1 to 2 times per day. 1 time a day, that's perfectly fine. If you have the bandwidth to post twice a day, awesome. Instagram is 3 to 5 times per week. Instagram and Facebook stories, I would say 2+ times per day. There's really no number on it, but if you can keep something up on your stories pretty much all the time, that's really great. And then also TikTok is 1 to 4 times per day. So quite a bit more. Again, if TikTok is something that you're focusing on and it's working well for you, I would, 1 time a day is really great, unless you got the bandwidth and you can post more. So stay consistent, plan. We're really going to talk more about that. That way it's a little bit easier to stay consistent. And don't post just to post, remember. Alrighty, so posting at strategic times is also really important. So posting at the most active times gives your content a better chance for high reach, visibility, and engagement, which is really part of the goal, right? So how can you find your peak times on Instagram? So what you're going to do is go to your professional dashboard, and make sure you are a professional account, by the way. If you are not, or a business account, you can just do so in the settings if you need to switch over. Otherwise, this will not be available, unfortunately. So professional dashboard, we're going to go to total followers. My engagement and stuff lately has not been great because I have not been posting consistently. There we go. Really tied together here. And then you're going to see most active times here. And if you just click on this little bar, and actually you'll need to scroll down to the bottom here, bottom of the screen, you'll see this little bar graph. If you click on them, it'll actually show the number of people on the platform at that time, or a number of your followers anyway. You still have the potential to, reach people outside of your followers, of course. So here it looks like 12 o'clock would be a good time for me to post, but also 3 o'clock too, just because it's, a few people different if I miss my 12 o'clock time frame. Before I move on to TikTok, I do want to add that Facebook, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. You can download I believe it's called the Meta Business Suites, something like that, Meta Business Suite. From what I have researched, they do not show specific peak times to post. I looked and looked and looked. So if you know differently, let me know in the chat. But I Googled and I looked on the app and I'm like, I'm not seeing it. So I'll talk about just kind of general best times to post on Facebook. So TikTok, we're going to go to those little 3 bars up top, creator tools. See the analytics here, view all followers. And then you'll kind of see the same format with kind of the bar graph. Just pretty similar to TikTok. So make sure to check that out, and you're posting at that peak time. Alrighty, insights. Insights are really great because it tells you how your content is being perceived, right? And how it's performing within the algorithm and within your audience. So there's a few different types of insights that you can take a look at. Most important is engagement. So this measures how many comments, likes, and shares that each post has. And high engagement posts will perform better within the algorithm. These platforms want us to stay active, on these apps, right? So if there's a post where, it's getting a lot of likes and shares and comments, it's going to then push it out to a wider or broader audience. So what we're really looking for is engagement. Reach. So this measures the total number of unique users who have seen your content at least once during a specific time period. So how many people viewed your content? Then we have impressions, and this refers to the total number of time your content has been displayed on a user's screen. It includes both views from unique users, or kind of like the first time viewers of that content, and also repeated views from the same user as well, if someone keeps going back to look at your content. So how can you boost engagement? Kind of going all the way back to the beginning, knowing your audience. If you are posting content that your audience loves and they connect with and they relate with, that's naturally going to boost your engagement. Funny content. We're going to talk more about this. I always have to have to tease throughout the whole webinar, like, we're going to talk more about this. But funny content performs really well on social media these days. And it's funny, like when I create content that's more educational and it's longer, and I spent so much time on it, it definitely does well. And I know it serves a purpose, right? Because it's important that I'm educating people just as it is for you. But when I take 2 seconds to create a funny short form video or a reel, it performs the best. That's just how it goes. So make sure to post reels on Instagram and Facebook. We'll talk more about that. Also post carousels on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram and Facebook really go hand in hand because they're both owned by Meta, right? But carousels. So when you're on, let's take Instagram for example, and there's a photo, but you see that there's multiple photos you can kind of swipe through. That's called a carousel. The reason why this boosts engagement because people are naturally just spending more time on that post and kind of engaging with it in a way because they're swiping through those photos. So keep that in mind when you're posting photos. Strong captions and be authentic. I'm probably going to say this 65,000 times tonight, but people feel authenticity through the screen these days. Social media has changed quite a bit, over the years. It's not as curated as it once used to be. People want to feel, who you are and want to see you being yourself. So be yourself. Easy as that. So I'm just going to touch on a couple of just best practices or things that are a little bit different with Facebook and TikTok, but really everything else is Instagram. And I think Instagram, we saw in the beginning, millennials are really utilizing Instagram to, learn about aesthetics and find their service providers. So I think Instagram is really, really important to focus on. So a lot of this is Instagram centric. Alrighty, so Facebook, you have a lot of different content options to post, right? We have text, where you can just type something. We have photos and we have videos. So typically text only posts, they don't perform as well. So just avoid that. If you're needing to get some sort of information out just really quickly, you can still, post a quick video, or you can create a little infographic on Canva or something like that, where your brand identity is visible. Reels are optimal and play automatically. Short form video is everything right now. We're going to talk more about that. Use the content that performs well on other platforms. So actually, when you're posting on Instagram, you can just, if you scroll at the bottom before you hit post, you can just hit the toggle that says share to Facebook. It's going to automatically share and you're not having to, double post, which is nice. Save you a little bit of time. Facebook is really nice because it is the only social media platform that allows you to collect reviews. Reviews are huge too, right? What are people looking for when they're booking with a aesthetic provider? Before and after photos, maybe who the aesthetic provider is, and reviews. So this is a really great thing about Facebook. So make sure you're inviting that, and you're collecting really great reviews. Also, Facebook is great for events because you can create a separate events page, and you can invite your followers and your friends and your family to that event page and really promote your event that way. So since Facebook, to my knowledge, does not give you exact peak times to post, from my research, typically the best time to post is 8 a.m. and noon on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But still, you, of course, do want to post more than that, more than just twice a week. So experiment and find what works best for you. And that kind of goes with everything that we're talking about tonight, right? Everyone can be a little bit different. Their audience can be a little bit different. So really evaluate and kind of pivot. when things aren't working. All right. TikTok, my favorite. So again, do be mindful of what's going on with the app, but can still be really great as long as it sticks with us. So TikTok, of course, is really only short form videos. I know you can post photos now, so that's still helpful, but primarily short form videos. So create high quality videos. Of course, that's always important in any platform you're using. Use trending sounds and music. That's really all TikTok is about trends. And it can also help you to show up on the For You page, right? So each person has a curated For You page. It's the algorithm. So if I'm looking at a ton of dog videos, next time I get on that app, guess what I'm going to see a ton of? Dog videos. That's actually what happens in real life. So that's what the For You page is. And when your content shows up on the For You page, you have a really nice chance of going viral on TikTok for sure. And you have more visibility on your content. With TikTok, focusing on funny content is everything. So you can get a little bit looser on TikTok for sure, and definitely don't be afraid of that funny content on this platform. Also, treatment videos, again, people are learning about aesthetics and treatments on all of these platforms. So people really like to see that and learn, as well as trends, once again. And the trends move rapid fire. So if you see a trend and you want to do it, film that TikTok today. It's going to be gone tomorrow. And then also you can link your Instagram to your TikTok. So it'll just show a little Instagram icon in your TikTok bio. So that way, if someone finds you on TikTok, they can then pop over to your Instagram. All right. So just some helpful tools that I enjoy. Well, I don't use content scheduling. Again, I have not been consistent lately. But content scheduling can be really, really helpful, especially when you're utilizing multiple platforms, right? They're all going to have different peak times typically. And again, this really helps you to be strategic and you're not just posting to post. And you can kind of look at like, okay, what holidays are coming up and what should I post about, with these holidays and things like that coming up. So, okay, I mentioned all that. So some names for some content scheduling platforms that I've seen. You kind of do a little bit more research and see which one works best for you. Hootsuite, they all kind of have funny names. Hootsuite, Loomly, Sendable, SocialBee, TweetDeck, and Planoly. That one's a little funny. Canva, I think everyone in the world is familiar with Canva, but in case you're not, or in case you're not really utilizing it, it is so, so amazing. So it's a graphic design platform to create easy branded content. And they have templates, so really, really easy. And then I also really enjoy CapCut. So it's a video editing app where that has templates. So if you've ever seen content like this on social media, like it kind of has like a B-roll put in there, and it's like usually some sort of pop culture person, like a celebrity or whatever. It's actually probably coming from CapCut. So those can be fun. And it just allows for a little bit more sophisticated editing, but it's super easy. So you can do things like voiceovers, closed captions, and so much more, but it's easy to use. Okay. So how can you invite people to follow your practice on social media? So for your patients who are coming in on a daily basis, right? Or you have patients coming in on a daily basis, not that someone's coming every day. How can you make sure that they know about your social media and make sure they're following you so that they can stay, up to date and they can see your before and after photos and learn more about your treatments, right? And what you offer. So make sure on your website, you are putting, you can have those little icons like the Instagram icon, the Facebook icon, whatever, that are hyperlinked. So they click on it, it takes you over there. Make sure that is on your website. You can really have that at the bottom of every single page of your website. That's really great. QR codes at your front desk. So you can go on Etsy. I'm sure a lot of you already have this, but go to Etsy and you can get like branded, those little acrylic stamps, and it has your QR codes on it. Those are really cute. So you can say, oh, or your front desk can say like, oh, make sure to, follow us on Instagram or Facebook. Text or email new patients. So hopefully you're doing a follow-up text or email or of course even a call, but it makes more sense to ask for a quick follow through text or email. So, especially for new patients, checking in with them. Thanks so much for coming in. All of those different things, you can just kind of pop in a link there and say like, love to follow each other on social media, stay up to date with our promotions and all of our offerings. Loyalty program. So if you offer a loyalty program that is points based, right? They're earning points based on different things like pre-booking their appointment. For every dollar they spend, a lot of the times, there's a lot of different things you can add in there. But you can add in there, like if you follow us on social media, obviously they'll have to prove it to you at the front desk. You'll earn X amount of points. So that can be a really great way to help increase your followers and make sure your patients are involved. You can also hold some sort of contest in your office, right? Like follow us on Instagram and we'll drop your name in a bowl for a free Dermafuse treatment, something like that. Also, SEO too. If you Google, med spa in your city, a lot of the times you'll see Facebook and Instagram pop up. So it can be a helpful way for people to find you that way as well. All right, we're getting into the content. What should you be posting? So I will be talking more about a lot of these, but this is kind of a good thing to look at if you're like, what the heck should I be posting? You can come back to this slide and take a peek. And not that you can't post beyond this, but this is like, the bread and butter of your content. So what type of content do social media, oh my gosh, I'm combining words. I'm creating my own language. Social media users want to see. Educational, again, millennials in specifics, but a lot of people, they're coming to social media to learn about medical aesthetics. So teach them, right? Teach them, teach them, teach them. Treatment videos. People want to see what things look like. Does it hurt? They're looking for the reaction of the patient. Are they flinching during this treatment? So treatment videos are great. Quality before and after photos. I'm going to leave it at that because I'm going to dive a bit deeper. Trending audios, funny trends, topical content, content involving you and your staff, and authentic content as well. Okay. So first of all, showcase you and your staff. We go back to the beginning of this webinar where we talked about inauthentic content, right? The stock photos versus authentic and how that really shapes the perception of your business. This is a huge way, and I don't think it's talked about enough, a huge way to ensure that your social media presence is authentic. Your audience wants to get to know you, right? They want to know who is behind the practice, who is behind the brand. It also humanizes your brand, so it doesn't look like a spam profile with a bunch of stock photos. It builds trust, connection, and recognition, right? You're part of your brand, so the more often they're seeing you, they're recognizing you, right? And they're recognizing your business. Back to the trust and connection. How important is trust and connection in this industry, right? No way is someone choosing a service provider if they do not trust or connect with them. So of course, there's a million different ways to build on trust and connection with your patients, but a lot of the times, this is the first step if they're finding you through social media, it's really important. Staff content, when your staff is involved, it showcases a great company culture, which is really great for your brand as a whole, but especially when it comes time for you to hire, right? You're doing research on your people you're interviewing, but also they're doing research on you too. So it can really help to draw people in to want to work for you, which is good. Also, you can use staff content to showcase expertise and skills. Again, kind of back to that educational content. Tell them why they should choose you as a service provider or choose your practice. And also your followers may be more inclined to schedule their first appointment because they got to know you. They like you. They like that you educate them. They like your content. They're like, okay, I'm definitely booking with them. So again, I cannot stress it enough. You have to show up on social media. And I'm so sorry if you're like, dang it, I hate social media. I do not want to get on there. It's so worth it. I promise. If you really want to get the most out of social media, you must do this. So I hope to see everybody's beautiful face on social media. This goes right into being authentic and have fun. There's rules and algorithms and all of these different things with social media. But at the end of the day, sure, it's important to follow those things to maximize your efforts. but also have fun, right? It can be fun team bonding. If you're doing it with your staff, just have fun with it. And that's a great way to show up authentically. So audiences increasingly prioritize genuine interactions and transparent communications. 88% of users, social media users, consider authenticity important when deciding which brands to support. Wow, that's a huge percentage. So really prioritize transparency, credibility, and relatability. Be relatable. People get on their level, right? That's super important. It's going to really put them at ease. Focus on, I can't read all of this. Let me see if I can move this. There we go. Focus on developing an authentic voice, genuine connections, and showcasing your unique values. All right, I'm going to try not to talk for an hour just on before and after photos. I won't, I promise. We have a whole webinar for that. So after you're done watching this one, go watch the, I think it's called The Tale of Transformation Before and After Photos, something like that. It's on our YouTube. So before and after photos are absolutely crucial on your social media. So this data comes from our good friends over at Patient Now and RX Photo. They're same company essentially. They actually did study. They put money into R&D to get these statistics. So 75% of people will not reach out to a practice if there is not a prominent before and after photo section on your website. How are people finding your website? Of course, through Google and whatnot, but a lot of the times through social media as well. And I know this wasn't part of the study, but I would argue that the percentage would be the exact same, if not higher, for social media users as well. When they're looking for service providers on social media, are they picking one that does not have prominent before and after photos on their profile? No, probably not. 4 out of 5 patients view a practice's before and after photos before moving forward with an aesthetic treatment. This is what they must see before moving forward. Quality before and after photos, we all know they're not all created equal, right? Quality before and after photos will attract patients to book an appointment. I just had a consultation with a plastic surgeon because I saw his before and after photos and I was like, wow, those are amazing. So I've done it. We've probably all done it, right? So think about this for your own social media profile. And when we say quality before and after, right? We never want your patients or your social media audience to be like, I think I see the result, but the lighting's funny. I think I see the result, but she's wearing makeup in the after photo and not in the before. So again, go watch the before and after webinar to ensure you're taking perfect, consistent before and after photos like we have over here. Also ensure your patients sign a photo consent before posting. I'm sure most everyone's doing that, but that's obviously really important for liability purposes and not posting without having that consent. So I've actually heard this a couple of times lately from our customers. They said the best time to ask a patient if you can post their photos on social media. So a lot of people might be like, no, I do not want to be on social media unless I can be, inconspicuous. Is once you show them their results. So you take the before or you take that final after photo, you show them and they're like, wow, I'm so happy. That's amazing. Then you can ask. If you ask at their very first appointment, most likely their immediate answer is no. So keep that in mind. Relevant content, it typically performs really well on social media. So what does that look like? Memes. This happens all the time, actually. I feel like this year has been rampant with memes. So we had a lot of Taylor Swift memes this year. She's been huge in pop culture. So just kind of look for those cute little pop culture memes like this one over here that people really, really enjoy. Celebrities, so that kind of goes hand in hand with memes. Also, I did like a celebrity skin prep with Sinclair because it was the Oscars or the Grammys or something like that. So kind of see what's happening in pop culture. People really enjoy that. Topics relevant to your patient's pain points, right? So that's where another part of knowing your audience really comes in handy. Relevant treatments based on season. So, now it's fall. Let's talk about IPL and BFR combinations, things like that. And then updates within the industry as well. So I know something just came out about benzoyl peroxide. If you're a doctor, a dermatologist, or you really focus on content like that, look for those updates within the industry and educate your audience. All right, let's get into short form videos. So we'll start off with a statistic. 96% of social media users prefer to watch short form video content to learn about products and services. So social media has really changed over the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years, right? Like Instagram used to just be a photo platform. Now it's it's almost all video. Of course, we still have photos on there, but it's changed quite a bit. So it's also important to see those changes and evolve with the platforms. So social media users find short form videos to be 2.5 times more engaging than long form videos. So short form videos on Instagram and Facebook specifically is 90 seconds. That's the maximum amount of time you can record a video. TikTok, you can actually go up to, I think it's 10 minutes these days. And a long form video would be something like YouTube, just longer content. Algorithms favor short form videos. When these platforms kind of introduce something new and they're competing with each other, right? TikTok blew up, so Instagram or Meta, whoever, was like, "Oh, we need to we need to compete with TikTok." So the algorithm is just naturally going to push that type of content. Primarily post short form content that is 30 seconds or less. Yes, you do have up to 90 seconds, but you'll notice most of the time the video completion rate will decrease after about 30 seconds to a minute. So just keep that in mind. Not that you can never, create content over a minute and a or up to a minute and a half, but in general, keep it to 30 seconds or less. Again, automatically share your content from Instagram to Facebook just with that little toggle before you post. So what are some short form video best practices? Film in a vertical format so that your content, where's my mouse, looks like this. It covers the whole screen and you don't have like big black blocks in the middle because you filmed horizontally. Educate your audience. We've talked about that. Use hooks. Draw your audience in. I think I'm going into that onto the next slide or the next couple slides. Post-treatment videos. Frequently include a call to action. I'm going to show you some examples. Follow trends. I'll show you how to find those. And avoid posting with the TikTok watermark. So if you're using both TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, a lot of the times people will film on TikTok, that video saves once you post, and then they'll just re-upload it to Instagram and Facebook with the TikTok watermark. Instagram has actually come out, or Meta has actually come out and said, don't do that. I think they try and kind of maybe hide those videos to not promote TikTok. So you can still film on TikTok just before you post. I wish I had an example of this. But before you post, there's like all the little features on the right-hand side. If you click the arrow, you'll see it says save. You're able to save with the audio and save that video without the watermark. That's personally how I make my content. All right, so just because short form videos are everything right now, it doesn't mean that you can't still post photos. They still serve a purpose, but let's make sure that our photos are, relevant and funny and your before and after photos, right? So to give you an example, I don't know if you guys know who Dude with Sign is. That's his handle on Instagram. I'm sure he's on other platforms, but he stands in New York City with a big cardboard sign with something written on it. It can be like an opinion or whatever, but it's always topical. So we were like, hey, let's also do this. This performed super well. Engagement was super high. People absolutely loved it. So when you're posting photos and stuff like that, just think of things like that to really help invite engagement. All right, let's talk about hooks for your short form videos. So a hook is an attention-grabbing statement, question, or visual made in the first few seconds of the video to get your audience invested in your content. So viewers are deciding within seconds, I believe it's about 2 seconds, maybe even less, like 1.7 seconds, whether or not they will continue to watch any chosen video. Things are moving very quickly on social media these days. So think about what you can do in the beginning of your video to grab their attention so they keep watching, they complete that video. That helps to boost engagement, helps to boost that post within the algorithm, right? So what are some hooks you can use? Also, do a quick Google search. There's a million different ones out there. These are just a few examples, but you can start with, did you know? And then educate them. Let's talk about. And they're going to be like, oh, what are we talking about? I'm interested. This is what I love about This is what I love about pre-made dermafacial, and then talk about it. Or it could be through text, of course. So patients commonly ask this question. If your patients in office are asking this question, most likely social media users, looking for a service provider will have that question too. So that's really great, is to answer questions like that on social media. POV, right? Point of view. This is huge on social media right now. Point of view, you just received the best pre-made dermafacial of your life. I don't know. I'm just making things up at this point. You can you can brainstorm a little longer than I am. Sorry, I wish this little bar thing was not always in my way. Okay. Oh, this is a great one. So you can start the video, and I actually have an example of this. Start the video by showing a great before and after photo before you talk about what treatment was used to achieve those results. People will see the great before and after, and they'll be like, wait, I need to learn about what treatment they did and how many and blah, blah, blah. So just some hooks for you to think about. Trending audio on Instagram. So I wanted to just kind of go over those two things, hooks and audio, because I'll be talking more about it in my examples. So when you are on your Instagram profile, you're going to go to professional dashboard, scroll down, trending audio. Now we see Taylor Swift all over this because of her new album. You're going to go 1 through 50. So it's going to list those for you. So that's how you find trending audio. And also, if you see this little arrow next to any sound, maybe you're just scrolling reels for fun, that means that the audio is trending. So keep that in mind. Alrighty, let's talk about captions. Captions add depth, context, and personality to visual content. They're important. Sometimes it's the hardest thing of content, right? But they're super important. They are an extension of your content and should have the same tone. You posted something kind of funny, post a short, sweet, funny caption. If you posted about something kind of serious, right? Maybe you're talking about VVR and how many patients are affected by postmenopausal symptoms, stuff like that. Maybe a little bit more serious in your tone in the caption and a bit more educational. Ask engaging questions. Again, invite that engagement. Create a strong call to action. What would you like your viewers or your audience, what would you like them to do after viewing your content? Do you want them to comment something? Do you want them to go to the link in your bio? It can be anything, right? Do you want them to call you? And it's not that every single post has to have a call to action, but it's important that most of them do. And then always make sure to respond to your comments as well. That can actually help to invite more engagement. So just a couple of examples here for captions, and I have more coming up. Did you know that we can add Dermafuse to any of our other aesthetic treatments to boost results? Our favorite serum is intensive hydration before any radiofrequency treatments. Easy peasy. And you asked a nice question in there too. So here's about like a little promotion. The pre-made dermafacial is 15% off this month, and appointments are filling up quickly or fast. Schedule your appointment by calling. There's a call to action, or head to the link in our bio to book. Perfect. Make sure you are posting captions. It's almost like the cherry on top to your content. And if a post doesn't have a caption, you're kind of like, what's going on? So really important to have that. Cherry on top. Hashtags. I get asked this question all the time, and I know it's kind of, it's always changing and it's so vague. These platforms don't always, they don't divulge all of their algorithm info, right? But this is what has been found, right? You should include no more than 6 relevant hashtags to each post. You do have up to 30, by the way, on Instagram specifically, but no more than 6. Too many hashtags could cause the algorithm to think you are a spam account, and then your content really won't be seen and won't perform well. Also, avoid using the same hashtags in consecutive posts because of the same thing. You can be deemed as spam. The best hashtag you could use, but again, make sure you're switching up your content so you're not using the same exact hashtag every time, is your city name plus a treatment that's relevant to the post. So for example, New York City skin rejuvenation, New York City laser hair removal, New York City facial, New York City med spa, whatever. This is how people, specifically millennials, this is how I do it. This is how they are looking for their service providers. Really important to do that. Also, when you are looking at hashtags, when you're posting, So see, where's my mouse here? See these numbers. So we have 114,000 posts, 14.4 thousand posts, 1.7 million posts. Avoid picking the one that has more hashtags, right? The more people have used that hashtag, your content's going to get a little lost in the sea with the 1.7 million posts. I would use one of these two. They're still relevant because they still have a high amount of people who have used the hashtag, but they're not as big as 1.7 million. So you have a little bit more chance of visibility there. All right, I'm trying to move quickly. I know we're coming up on an hour. I'm trying to keep it around an hour. So Instagram and Facebook stories, these are really great. They are a great tool to stay on your audience's mind. It's kind of a secondary location for you to tell them why they should come see you, not verbally, but you know what I mean, through your content and through being you and being authentic. And sharing your brand identity, stuff like that. And a lot of the times I'm scrolling through stories versus through the in-feed posts. And I know a lot of people are like that too. Again, post at least 2 stories per day. Use stories to further humanize your page. It does not have to be curated whatsoever. Just pop on there, talk to people. It doesn't have to be perfect whatsoever. And really none of your content does. Don't think you have to do all of this crazy, short form video editing. You can absolutely just, pop on with a little ring light and just talk for a few minutes, or not a few minutes, for 30 seconds or less. Use available features. So we see over here on Instagram, we have things like, they just kind of changed this recently. Quiz, you can kind of quiz your audience. This is inviting engagement, right? The algorithm senses that people are engaging with your story, which is helpful for your stories algorithm anyway. You can put links if you want them to head to the link in your bio. There's a million different things. So kind of play around and see what fun you can have on your stories. You can always share your in-feed post to help invite engagement that way. Share sales and event information, share Sinclair's content. If you're like, dang, I need to post a story. What am I gonna post about? Absolutely. You can share our content. And also you can always tag us in your content and in your stories as well, because a lot of the times or I'd say most of the time, we share your content, and that's going to help within the algorithm too. Create highlights on Instagram, right? So stories only last 24 hours. So as long as you create a highlight and you actually save a story to these highlights, this shows up like in your bio on Instagram. The story will last there forever until you want it gone. So that's really great. You can create different highlights like before and after photos, testimonials, and different technology ones. Connect your Instagram and Facebook stories as well. So not just the content you're able to kind of double post, you can do that through stories too. All right, let's look at some short form video examples. Short and sweet, right? So this is an example of a treatment video. Just an example, right? You can always do different things, but this type of content does perform really well, and we're going to talk about why. So what would my caption be in this case? I would say, are you ready to take your results to the next level? I'm asking you a question. Adding Dermafuse to any aesthetic treatment is a quick, easy, and effective way to improve clinical outcomes by infusing, I can't read, but high quality vitamins and minerals into skin cells with no needles and no downtime. So I'm also educating in the caption too. The education doesn't have to come just from which I kind of did. I kind of educated about what Dermafuse does in a very simplified way, but you can also educate in your caption too. So let's see what is great about this type of content. Maybe, there we go. It showcases a treatment. We know people want to see that. It's under 30 seconds. It asks a question in the beginning to hook viewers. I forgot what it says, but you probably remember better than me. But it asks that question. I think something about your best skin ever. Explains the benefits of a treatment in a very simplified manner. That's important, right? We don't necessarily have to get super technical or scientific unless your audience likes that. Visible brand identity. I had that Sinclair purple visible, and then I used a trending audio. It was trending weeks ago. It's no longer. All right, so there's one example for you. Now let's look at a trend.
Oh my goodness, I love this question. I think.
All right, what would my caption be in this case? Because I was pretty vague in the content, right? So my caption was 3 reasons why attending Beauty Boss is a must. Learn proven strategies from industry leaders on how to successfully implement your Sinclair technologies into your practice. You'll level up your business with clinical and practice development strategies from Sinclair and our selected partners. Experience our incredible technologies with live demos. Here's a call to action, link in bio to register for our upcoming Beauty Boss. So that was the caption, just to kind of show you different examples. What was great about this type of content? It includes a call to action. I don't know if you caught it, but I said to read the caption. So I didn't give away a lot of info during the content, but I said, go read the caption, where I really provided the bulk of the info. It's under 30 seconds, asks a question in the beginning of the reel. So it has that hook, visible brand identity. I used that Beauty Boss navy blue. And then it was a trending audio at the time as well. It was everywhere for a few weeks, actually. So there's an example on a trend. Here's educational. And I won't play the whole thing. I don't think it's like a minute and a half, but
let's talk about how this amazing result was achieved. This patient received 3 Energet treatments for acne scarring. Now you may be wondering, what is Energet? Well, the Energet uses kinetic energy, which delivers therapeutic compounds into the skin completely needle-free, which is really amazing. And the treatment's also very, very comfortable. Really cool part about Energet is once that therapeutic compound enters the skin, it bursts into nanoparticles. You can think of almost as a mist into the skin, where we also get a lateral spread. So we're really able to disperse the solution more effectively compared to a needle. Now, when treating acne scars specifically with Energet, there's a dual mechanism of action that happens. First of all, we're stimulating collagen and elastin production, which we all know that's how we treat scarring. But in addition to that, the power of the jet creates a liquid subcision effect. So the tissue that is anchoring that scar down to the dermis, it is breaking that apart, where we then see an immediate lift out of the scarring. And the patient doesn't have to go through a traditional subcision effect that's, a bit more painful and lengthy and has more of a downtime. Energet treatments are quick, usually no more than 30 minutes. They are comfortable.
Okay, I'll spare you. At the end, I just kind of talk about the most frequently asked questions, which you can actually put in your, did I put it in here? Yes, in your caption as well. And yes, this content is a little bit longer, right? It's educational. So you can still try and keep it at 30 seconds. It's so hard for me because I can talk about these technologies for hours. I'm like, I need more than a minute and a half. But again, you can keep it a little bit shorter if you can, but educational content is so important. So what would my caption be here? All these things in the way, sorry. So this was like showing that before and after photo first, right? And then talking about the treatment. So I gave it a little statistic in the caption, and talking about how Energet provides a long-lasting solution for the remodeling of scar tissue. And then again, I did provide those kind of frequently asked questions that patients are looking for. And you can do this on before and after photos and whatnot too, kind of detail the treatment plan, like how many treatments, treatment time, and what the downtime's like. So what's great about this type of content, showcases before and after photo. I have a hook in the beginning, educates my audience in a simplified manner, right? Keeping it so people can understand it if they're not in the industry. Visible brand identity, and then trending audio, which I was not the trending audio, but I did use just kind of that background music, which I think is a nice touch. And that was trending. So even if you're just talking, you can still add a trending song, and that's going to help you out within the algorithm. Okay. So I'm wrapping up, I think, just on time here. Okay, perfect. So before you post on social media, on any of the platforms, I want you to think about a few things. I want you to ask yourself, am I posting with a purpose? Does this post have elements of my brand identity? Remember your colors, your logo, and even you and your staff. Does this post align with my brand identity or contribute something positive towards my brand? Is it authentic, right? Does this post have high quality photos and or videos? Does this post have a great caption and a few relevant hashtags? Will this post invite engagement in some way? If you said yes, 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 yes to all of those questions, you are good to go. You created some really beautiful content. All righty, so that wraps up Social Media 101. Thank you so much for joining. And I do want to add, I have created some social media tutorials that is going to be in the description box on YouTube. And also, I know we have everyone's email who attended live. We can send that those different tutorials out to you. It'll just come over as a file. So just how to do certain things on social media if you're not sure. So we will send that over to you or find it in the description box. And of course, we'd love to stay connected with you and, help you further if needed. So these are the different platforms on Instagram. We have our main page, Sinclair North America or _ North America. Then we have Sinclair _ Beauty Boss. So this is where we really, promote our webinars and our Beauty Boss events. And we do a lot of Instagram lives and stuff like that. And then, of course, I'd love to follow you over on my page as well. So I do see something in the chat. And if anyone has any questions. All right. Thank you so much. Have a great night.